First of all, let me welcome everybody here today for, again, a monumental occasion honoring Hellenism in Brooklyn and in the city of New York, but in particular to the heroes and heroines of Greek American life in this great borough. May I ask for the color guard to please come in and to present the colors. This is the Boy Scout Troop 531, the Golden Greeks. While we are presenting the colors and before the anthems, please remain standing. I'm going to ask Zoe Koutsoutakis to make a welcome address. Where is he? Is the borough president here? Zoe, you're next.
Honorable Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, Honorable Dr. Konstantinos Koutras, Consul General of Greece, Ms. Lana Zahiou, Consul of Greece, our spiritual leaders, Father Evagoras Konstantinidis, Damaskinos Ganas, Father Gerasimos Bakris, and Father Apostolos Monoloudis. Honorable and distinguished guests, dear friends and today's honorees, it is with a great pleasure that I offer greetings to all of you here today. We thank our Borough President, Mr. Eric Adams, for his hospitality in celebrating with the Hellenic community of Brooklyn our Greek heritage again this year. We sincerely thank you and appreciate all you do for our Greek American community. We are gathered here today to celebrate the Greek Independence Day. This day reminds us that the Greeks in 1821 declared all known people of that time that Greece fought throughout the centuries for liberty, human rights, freedom, and justice for all. Greece until today is fighting to perpetuate the human values, the democratic and humanitarian ideas. And I left out a very important person. I wanted to thank Mrs. Kokolis for being here today with us. She's the president for the Federation of Teachers. Thank you, Tella, and a prior member of our committee. The success of this event reflects the combined efforts of many. A very special thank you goes to our chairman, Very Reverend Eugene Papas, and we thank him for his leadership. The committee members, Basil Kapetanakis, who cannot be with us today and he's greatly missed, but he's represented by his son-in-law, Anthony Grigos, James Tambakis, Sandy Vallas, and John Haskopoulos for making this year's event another success. Special thanks to two dynamic ladies who I had the pleasure of working closely with again this year, Candice, Julianne, and Sandra Chapman, from the office of the Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams. So thank you both for all your support and hard work. I would like to congratulate, I left him last because I go back many years, our keynote speaker, Mr. Kokotas. We thank you so much. It's a great honor to have you here today. To our sponsors, special thanks to our benefactors, Signature Bank. To our sponsors, Island Federal Credit Union, Meridian Properties, and Basil Kapetanakis. In addition, I want to thank all the restaurants and pastry shops that sponsored by donating their food, pastries, and refreshments. To our dear friend Alex Vanek, who is not here today, to prior obligations, from ASAP, that he's doing the most and the hardest work by picking up the food on time and to make sure that the food is here by 3 p.m. the latest. We thank you, Alex. We thank Sofia Stasinou for our school desk coordinator and our schools that are going to perform for us today, and it's going to make us, again, very proud. And congratulations to today's worthy honorees, They are strong supporters of our community, schools, and Hellenism throughout the region. They are all dynamic, successful individuals and professionals involved in various organizations offering endless hours of love and dedication. Axi. I thank you all for coming here today to celebrate with us such a historic event. Να ζήσει η Ελλάδα μας. Ζήτω η Ελλάς.
I would be remiss if I did not also acknowledge the great work of Zoe Koutsouphakis, and I think she deserves a round of applause. She gives credit to everyone, but she deserves much herself. I'm going to ask the Reverend clergy, all of you, to join me here as we offer the invocation together. Παρακαλώ, η Άγιοι Κληρικοί εδώ κοντά μου. As we open this ceremony, let us sing first the Greek national anthem, to be followed by God Bless America. Σε γνωρίζω από την όψη του σπαθιού την τρομερή, σε γνωρίζω από την όψη που με διάμετρα την γη, απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά, και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά, και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά, και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χαίρο ελευθεριά. Ζήτω το έθνος, ζήτω η Ελλάδα. Please join us in singing this beautiful hymn. It's not our national anthem, but it could be. God Bless America. Please join us all. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America. I'm going to ask my brother clergy to join us in prayer as we call upon God to bless this wonderful occasion tonight, but likewise to bless America and to bless our patria, our homeland, our fatherland, which is Greece. I'm going to ask Father Ganas to lead us in the Lord's Prayer in Greek and in English, and then I'm going to ask all the clergy to sing together Ti Permacho.
Ελληνικά. Πάτερ ημών, ο εν της ουρανής, αγιαστείτε το όνομά σου, ερθέτω η βασιλεία σου, γεννηθείτε το θέλημά σου, ως εν ουρανό και επί της γης, των άρτων ημών των επιούσιων, δώσει ημίν σήμερον, και άφησε ημίν τα οφειλήματα ημών, ως και εμείς αφίεμε τους ωφελέτες ημών, και μη εις εν έγκυς ημάς εις πειρασμών, αλλά ρίσε ημάς από το πονηρού. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Ti permacho stratigota nikitiria, os litrothisa ton dinon ευχαριστήρια, αναγράφος η πόλη σου Θεοτό και άλλος έχουσα το κράτος απροσμάχητον, εκ πανδίων με κινδύνων ελευθερώσον, ή να κράζωσι χερενήλθει ανήνφευτεμ.
The color guard will now be dismissed, and please remain standing for the colors to retreat. Let us give a round of applause to the color guard, and likewise to the entrance of our Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams. Mr. President, the microphone is yours. You may be seated.
Thank you so much, and it's always good seeing Father Pappas. I celebrated one of the events with him a few months ago, and this is really one of our favorite events when we hold our Greek heritage program. We use the model of how he runs the program for all of the heritage events we have here. No one does it better than Father Pappas and how he moves it forward. I had the amazing journey 2 months ago while I was in Istanbul, that I stopped on and visited the school, the theological school of, is it Hellenic? Did I pronounce that right? And walking through the classrooms and seeing just the history that's there. And we need to do all that is possible to send a strong message to the Turkish government that we need to reopen that school in a rich tradition. And when you look at the close to 300 million Greek Orthodox worshipers, it's clear that the acknowledgement, not only here in America, but across the globe, that school plays a significant role, and it means so much to those who have witnessed just a historical connection. And as the borough president of what I'd like to consider the Athens of America here in the borough of Brooklyn, we're going to do all that we can to send a strong and loud message. And so I thank you. I thank you for the celebration. I thank you for having us here in the Borough Hall, and we look forward to our honorees.
Mr. President, others may not declare their candidacy, a cat and mouse with it, but your candidacy for the mayoralty of this city is well known, and so we encourage you, we support you, and we give you our best blessings to grow in the city and become the mayor that we so sorely need. And remember that when he does run, he will run under his Greek name. His Greek name is not Eric Adams, it's Iraklis Adamopoulos. It gives us great pleasure and honor also to call forward the representative of our Patrida, our homeland, our fatherland, and that is the Consul General of Greece, Konstantin Koutras, who will now offer his remarks as well.
Dear Mr. President, Reverend clergy, distinguished guests, you know, if Father Eugene spoke before you, we may face difficulties. So, as we come closer to the bicentennial celebration of our Greek Independence Day, Mr. President, I feel as if a cycle of history is closing. Every chapter needs an ending, and every nation needs a narrative. 200 years is enough time for our nation to have gained the confidence and sobriety needed to introspect. Over this time, we have had our fair share of pride, success, but also misfortunes. But history must be seen not as a burden of the memory, but rather as a light to guide us through a safer future. The 25th of March is not the inaugural day of our country's establishment, but the starting point, dear Father, of our revolution. It was carefully selected to stand as an eternal reminder for our struggle to freedom. Because the struggle for the principles we stand for is always more important than the actual outcome. The same way, the journey is more important than the destination. As history teaches us, Alexander Ypsilantis chose the feast day of the Annunciation to evangelize the political liberation of the Hellenic nation. These brave acts of our ancestors, who shed their blood in order for us to be living in a world of peace and prosperity, must now guide Greece's course on the international stage. Modern Greece has many reasons to be proud of its accomplishments. And we did so while navigating the turbulent waters of brutal and divisive wars, financial crises, yes, and political shocks, yes. Through the centuries, we prospered through it all. It is impressive to realize how many times our country, Greece, has stood on the side of the winners. Not many countries have had that privilege, and we, the modern Greeks, must cherish it and use it as a compass for our future decisions. Naturally, not all of our decisions actually were right, and not of our victories came without a cost. But we were fortunate enough, Mr. President, to have created strong alliances. The United States of America has a predominant role in this network of allies, and we thank you very much. We thank this country, this great country for that. It is not a coincidence that the American opinion was strongly favorable to the Greek cause right from the start, and that private citizens, including philanthropists and political activists, were eager to become involved in Greek affairs of the time. It is not a coincidence that bilateral relations were established right after our state formation. In the 20th century, together, the two nations shed blood in 3 wars and stood side by side in key multilateral organizations. Nowadays, that we have escaped the shadows of the past and moved to the future, cooperating closely in key factor areas, in key sectors. Traditional areas of cooperation such as finance, commerce, science, technology exist, and new are added such as governance, law enforcement, counterterrorism, and people-to-people ties. The newly inaugurated, Mr. President, US-Greece strategic cooperational partnership will deepen our constructive bilateral relations even further. What is important about this new chapter of Greek-US relations, US-Greek relations, is that it acquires a special geostrategic importance given the location of Greece, its steadfast vision for global politics, and the latest energy findings in the Mediterranean basin. So, God bless America and Zito η Ελλάς και Zito 25 Μαρτίου. Thank you so much.
The lovely lady that is sitting next to the Consul General is the Consul of New York, Lana Zokyu. We like to stand up for a second, if you will, so everybody can see you, how beautiful you are. Parakalo. This is part of Grecian beauty. We would like now to commence with the citations that are going to be given, and there's going to be a very strict order that we're following, and that is that when the name of the honoree is called forward, they will come and stand right there, and then we will read their biography as given to us and profiled, and then they will take a photo op, the honoree and the borough president with the committee member who is reading the citation. May we begin? The first honoree is Georgia Bouzakis. If she would come forward, please. Stand right there, Georgia, next to the borough president. Georgia Bouzakis was raised at Three High Rocks Greek Orthodox Church and has diligently served in the church choir for the past 53 years, even though she's only 46. Never good in math. She is in charge of the liturgical text and proper order. As a member of the Ladies Philoptochos Society for more than 30 years, she has volunteered on countless charitable events and projects for the Holy Archdiocese. Ms. Bouzakis recently served as the school secretary of the New York City Universal Pre-K program at Three High Rocks Church. She is an aide and vocal attendee at the Brooklyn Community Board, number 15, and the 61st Precinct Police Council meetings. She is the mother of 2 children, James and Joanne. She is also a grandmother to Cassandra and loves her wonderful son-in-law, Danny. And I hope he loves her back. Mothers-in-law. Bouzakis has nurtured her family in the tradition of the Christian Greek Orthodoxy through the Sunday school and scouting programs of our church. The Bouzakis family has ties, and read this well, to the Sheepshead Bay Greek neighborhood dating back 102 years. Georgia Bouzakis. The next honoree is Anna Kondoulis. If she will come forward, please.
Anna Kondoulis is from Kimesis Theotokos Greek Orthodox Church. I've had the honor and the pleasure to serve with her on the executive board. Anna is also an associate dean of students and alumni affairs at the New York University School of Professional Studies. In the fall of 1988, she began working at NYU, where she held various positions and gained great understanding of what it takes to guarantee a successful student experience. Prior to her tenure at NYU, Anna enjoyed successful careers both in the United States and Greece. Born in Chios, Anna immigrated to the United States at the age of 15. She maintains close ties with her homeland and is an active member for the Greek American community, serving on numerous boards that promote Greek culture and religion, such as the Heian Federation, the Chios Societies of America and Canada, and Miracle Corners of the World, an organization that promotes youth development, health, social responsibility, and cultural exchange. Her work with this organization has taken her to Africa, Asia, Europe, and Latin America. She is dedicated to her family, brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews, along with a global network of families and friends.
The next honoree is Evangelia Fanourakis. If she would come forward, and her speaker will be here.
Evangelia Fanourakis. Mrs. Fanourakis was born in Piraeus to Ioannis and Maria Manis. Her siblings were Calliope, Adonis, and Marina. Mrs. Fanourakis was orphaned During World War II, at the age of 11, and within 1 month, she lost both her parents. At that time, her siblings were separated, and she was sent off to the island of Syros to live with relatives. At the age of 17, she began working at a hospital where she was trained and became a nurse. While at the hospital, she met her future husband, John Fanourakis, while he was a police officer stationed on the island. They were married in Piraeus in November of 1957, and 2 months later, she arrived in Brooklyn without her husband, who joined her 7 months later. They immediately became members of Saints Constantine and Helen Church. In the early 70s, after her children were growing up, she became a seamstress in the garment center. Mrs. Fanourakis has 2 children, Kathy and George, both baptized in St. Constantine and Helen, and both attended Aphantis Parochial School. She was an active PTO mom and member of Saints Constantine and Helen. Her daughter married Charalabos Kakleas, and having 3 grandchildren, Stephen, John, and Dimitra. And her son George married Maria, having 3 additional grandchildren, Evangelia, Irene, and John. Mrs. Fanourakis was married for 54 years. She has been an active member in our community, attending weekly Bible classes for seniors, attending trips, helping with food preparation in weeks ahead of the annual church festival. She still works many hours at our festival. She inspires us all with her hard work ethics during our festival and her energy. Congratulations, Mrs. Fanourakis.
The next honoree is the distinguished gentleman from the Three High Rocks Parish, Mr. George Ioannidis, if he will come forward, please. This young man, husband and father, is an Eagle Scout of the very troop that brought in the colors tonight, the Golden Greeks 531. He's a native New Yorker. I think there's a song like that, a native New Yorker, who received his bachelor's and master's degree in history from Brooklyn College, nothing better. He is the current group supervisor of foreign corruption and sanctions at the United States Department of Homeland Security. He also assigned to the Joint Terrorism Task Force in New York City. Prior to his promotion in 2016, Ioannidis was a special agent assigned to the Homeland Security Investigations of New York Public Safety Division, where he conducted long-term criminal investigations that identified, infiltrated, and dismantled international alien smuggling enterprises. During his tenure as a special agent, George Ioannidis was twice seconded to the international operations in Greece during the apex of the Syrian
Stewart
refugee
of Holy Cross
crisis.
Greek Orthodox
I bring you
Church.
George
He has raised his
The next honoree, we call him forward, please, is Michael Michaelis, if he's here, please. Yes? Bravo, Kiri Michaeli.
doesn't hesitate to help the church in any way possible, whether it would be an annual dance, a festival, a raffle, or a journal committee, anything that would help the church. Michael Michaelis is joined here tonight by his wife Diane, who is his wife of 61 years. Yes. And by his children, Elias, Dr. Dimitrios, and Peter Michaelis. They also have many grandchildren, and they are very proud of them. And I offer my heartfelt congratulations to Michael Michaelis, very deserving of this honor.
The next honoree, we're proud to invite her forward, is Maria Vasaca Muñoz.
Maria Muñoz is also very involved with the Holy Cross Greek Orthodox Church. In her professional life, she has worked for Pfizer, Inc. for 22 years. She has been very integral in the church with the Girl Scouts and the Cub Scouts. She's a former member of the Dimitrios and Georgia Kaloidis School Board, member of the Parish Council, and a founding member of the Holy Cross Outreach Center. Maria Monudis is joined here tonight by many family and friends, and her loving husband, Dr. Constantine Monudis, and her two children, Argulula and Nicholas. Maria, congratulations, very, very deserving.
The next honoree is Petros Papadakos. If he will come forward, please. O Kyrios Petros Papadakos.
Mr. Petros Papadakos was born in Potamia, Sparti, Laconia. My mother's from Potamia, Sparti too, by the way. He was the youngest of 6 children born to Garifalia and George. He was orphaned at the age of 12, where he lost his father and lived through the trials and tribulations of World War II and then the Civil War. He remained in Potamia, where he attended school until the age of 18, and then he was drafted in the Army, where he stayed till 1957. After being discharged, he followed his older brother to Toronto, where he opened a restaurant. He relocated to Brooklyn in 1962, where he met his beautiful wife, Kula Leka, and was married in St. Constantine and Helen Cathedral. It was a church back then, it wasn't a cathedral yet. Shortly afterwards, they started having their children, their family, Garifalia, Angelo, and George. Peter was always a people's person, loves to talk, dance, always greets people with a big smile. He's a very pleasant individual. He was a bartender at Harry's by the American Stock Exchange until his retirement. He was a board member at St. Constantine and Helen, and his 2 sons, George and Angelo, were also board members at our cathedral. He's still in church every Sunday, meets people, greets them with a big smile as they enter when he's not in Greece. He goes to Potamia a lot. He always helps in our community in all their activities, and at our festival, he was steady at the bar helping the festival with drinks. Peter brings down his wife's fresh galactoburico on a daily basis during our festival and spends the rest of the day helping in all areas. He is the proud grandfather of his 7 grandchildren, Nicholas and Petros Davos, Petros Maria Kyriako, Anastasia, and Kyriana Papadakos. In his spare time, he loves watching football, and since he was in the American Stock Exchange, he likes trading stocks. Congratulations, Mr. Papadakos.
Our final honoree for the evening, in alphabetical order, of course, is Dr. Tom Zivas.
Dr. Tom Zivas, son of Konstantinos and Eleni Zivas, and brother to George, Nikki, and Chrissy, has been an active and devoted member of Brooklyn's Kimisis Theotokos community for his entire life. It is where he was baptized, educated, married, where his daughter Zoe was christened, and where he has family worship. Dr. Zivas credits his parents, to whom he is deeply grateful for instilling in him strong values. He attended Sotirios Elinas School, where he became his 8th grade class valedictorian, as well as Zavarian High School's class of '79, New York, New York University, class of '83, and Georgetown University Dental School, where he received his doctorate of dental surgery in 1987. Upon completion of his education, Dr. Zivas chose to do a residency program. at the Brooklyn VA Hospital before opening a private practice in Bay Ridge, where he continues to practice general and family dentistry, serving the Bay Ridge community for more than 3 decades. For the past 12 years, Dr. Jeeves has served as a Kimisis Theotokos Church board member, as well as co-chair for the annual combined Brooklyn AHEPA 41 golf outing, basketball coach, Greek Olympic coach, and co-chair of various other community fundraisers. Dr. Jeeves, his wife Donna, and their daughter Zoe, a sophomore at Poly Prep Country Day School, reside in Dyker Heights. Their immeasurable love and support is very special to him. He is honored and proud to stand before you today to accept this award. Congratulations, Tom.
Some of you will remember when we began this 25 years ago, this would take us 2.5 hours. I've honed it down to 45 to 50 minutes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And Hollywood's still looking for me. It is now our joy and our pleasure to call forward Jimmy Kokotas, now, when he finishes speaking. Jimmy Kokotas, who is a Brooklyn-born son of our nation, is the Supreme Vice President of International AHEPA, Supreme Vice President. And so we're very pleased and honored that he be our keynote speaker this evening. Jimmy Kokotas.
Honorable Eric Adams, Borough President of Brooklyn, Honorable Konstantinos Koutras, Consul General of Greece, Honorable Lana Zochou, Council of Greece, esteemed Stella Kokolis, President, Federation Greek American Educators, Reverend clergy, members of the committee, esteemed honorees, brothers and sisters, it is my pleasure this evening to be with you and presenting the keynote speech. As Father Eugene said, we never disagree with Father Eugene. That's how we stay in his good graces. I know Irakli just stepped out, but I'd like to begin with sharing a little story. A month ago, he was with us at Three Hierarchs Church. He stayed with us for about 2 hours. He was dancing Greek music, and everybody was shocked. So somebody comes up to me and they say to me, "To pistevis, or Eric Adams na chorev etzi Hellenic." Now this person who approached me was not a member of our community. It was one of the neighboring communities. I don't remember if it was Kimisis or Holy Cross or St. Constantine and Helen. And I said to them, "You don't know Eric Adams' history, do you?" They said, "No, we don't." I said, "O papus to είναι από τη Σπάρτη." "Oh," he goes. I said, "Oh, you know, you're right. No, it wasn't his papu. It was o prospapos to," I said, "was from Sparti." I said, "Somewhere near Father Eugene's village, as a matter of fact." And I said that with a straight face. Obviously, I had to say it to somebody who was from outside of the Three Hierarchs community, because in the Three Hierarchs community, Father Eugene does not allow us any kotsobolio. So, by the end of the evening, somebody comes up to me, he goes, "Kokota, έλα σου πω κάτι. Άκουσα κάτι." "Τι άκουσες?" He goes, "Το πιστεύεις?" He goes, "Ο Adams και ο Eugene είναι ξαδέρφια?" I said, "Και εγώ κάτι τέτοιο είχα ακούσει, αλλά δεν το πίστευα." He goes, ναι, κάποιος μου είπε, είναι αλήθεια." I said, "Okay, bravo." So, Father Eugene, you were royalty without us ever knowing it and without ever being presented to the public. It is so beautiful to be celebrating this almost 200 years. 198 years, as the Council General said, this was the beginning of the revolution. And I thought to myself, those people that sacrificed everything, they sacrificed their lives just to stand up for what they believed in. This inherent value in the Greeks so many years ago, that was not the beginning. The Greeks were generous people, people that believed in mankind and had certain ideals. And this started before even Christ. You go back to the philosophers, the belief in excellence, the pursuit of excellence, the challenging of convention, and the standing up for what you believed in. These values are what propelled these people, what gave them the hope to be able to know that they were committing human sacrifice when they challenged the Ottomans, whether it was in practicing their faith or educating their children. And their strength, in essence, was their faith in God and their hope of something better. It all stemmed from that. If it was not that, why would they have given their lives? They would have just simply said, okay, we'll go forward, we'll practice on our own. But the desire to preserve that faith, to preserve their language, their culture, their history for future generations was worth the sacrifice. You look at the progress, and Greece was in disarray for many years after that as they reformed boundaries and fought to see who would come in, royalty, kings, Venizelos, Constantine, and everything else, into World War I, and it continued. The exodus of Greeks, leaving the country, coming to this beautiful country. And it follows again the same basic values and principles. Those people sacrificed again to come here for their children, knowing that they would give them a better opportunity and a better life. They could have stayed home. It would have been easier for them to stay home, to come to a foreign country not knowing the language, not having anything, maybe a few dollars in your pocket, maybe knowing a few people, a home that you might have been able to sleep in for a couple of weeks or a couple of months until you got your life started. But again, the sacrifice that they believed in for their family to allow things to go forward. These people sacrificed their lives, and that selflessness is not seen too much in today's society. It still does exist. It still does exist, and religious freedom is still a pursuit in the 21st century that we all have to stand behind, because we know that there are many people in the Middle East at all these churches, these bombings, these things that continue to happen day in and day out. So we haven't put that behind us. The world is a much more educated world. It's supposed to be a kinder world, but bad things are still happening day in and day out. We face a huge challenge. For almost 400 years, those people survived, and the enemy had a face. It was the Ottoman Empire. The Greeks that came to this country, my organization, the Order of Ahepa, founded to help them from the discrimination they were facing. Again, there was a face. It was the Ku Klux Klan. It was people that didn't want them here. There was always a face associated with the enemy and the challenge. For us today, there is no face, but the challenge is there, and we have to face what it is. Faith and belief in God, and the numbers show it, is diminishing. People are not coming into the church. They're unfortunately moving away from it when you look at societal shifts. It's not the cool thing to do, but this goes totally against what the Greeks did 90 some odd years ago. Most of these churches that we hear about, and a lot of our family and friends attend outside of New York and in New York, were the centerpieces of communities. When they came here, one of the first things Greeks looked to do was to build a church, because they knew that would be the center of their lives and their community. Without the church, there was nothing. How are we going to preserve them? What are we going to do? How are we going to pass along these traditions, the education? When you see all the parochial schools that have closed the last 10 or 20 years, and it's not just us. When I say there's a movement away from God, the percentages of people not believing in God, or the percentage of people that are describing themselves as atheists, that number has gone up, believers in God has gone down. But it is up to us to do what we can to make sure that we don't fold in the face of what's happening around us. The values that were passed along to us, the way the Greeks came here and they assimilated into this beautiful country, it's a melting pot. But in that melting pot, it's like when you're cooking and you put something in there, you'd like it to add some taste and some flavor, but you don't want it to totally disappear. That was the beauty, whether it was the Greek communities that you went to, the Italian communities that you went to, whether it's the Russian communities, the different faiths. That's the beauty of what America is. If we all just become homogeneous and everything just blends in, and nobody remembers their past, nobody remembers their history, we don't remember the beautiful things that make us different, then America will not be the America that everybody came here for. Hopefully the freedom will still exist, the religious freedoms that this country affords us, and the opportunities that it does. But we must make sure, whether it's our children, our godchildren, our nephews, our nieces, our friends, and our neighbors, we must make sure that they hold on to those little things that make us different. Whether it was celebrating your yorti as a young child. I don't know how many people still celebrate the yorti every year. How many people are roasting lambs on Easter? How many people are making sure they go to church on a regular basis, not just Holy Week? We must embrace the people you see sitting here in the front row, our clergy. We must work with them. We must work with organizations like AHEPA, the Philoptochos, Daughters of Penelope. If we could support our Council General, whatever we can do, Mrs. Kokolas, for the work you have done. These are issues that will not get any better if we don't work towards making them better. We must make sure that the language, the culture, and the traditions get passed along the way that we receive them. Look at what is going on around you. Look at how history continues to be rewritten in front of our eyes. We cannot accept that. We shouldn't accept that. We should continue to do what we were raised to do, that is the honorable thing and the right thing. Whether it is the fashionable thing, the politically correct thing or not, is a different story. Values are generational. They do not change because the times have changed. Good does not become bad. And I don't think bad overnight becomes good. But there are people that would try to make those deceptions or portray those things to us because it's easier. And nowadays, with social media and everything else, it's an easy path to just change people's minds and to get them thinking the wrong way. I believe that sometimes we put emphasis on the wrong people and raise up the wrong people for the wrong reasons. Everybody in this room, if I said to them Babe Ruth, if I said to them Michael Jordan or LeBron James, all tremendous athletes, tremendous, celebrities that they are, they pale in comparison to the people that are responsible for us being in this room. All of us have a Babe Ruth and a Michael Jordan in our family that came to this country so we could be where we are today. Let us remember those people and remember that the best way to honor them is to preserve, to protect, and to pass along what they gave us. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kokotas, just for a moment, we have a citation for you as well, but I would like always to have the last word, and that's the rebuttal. Πού είσαι? Έλα κοντά μου να σε καμαρώσουμε. What you were speaking about was a different word. It's not atheism, it's not non-belief in God, it's not any of that. It's a very beautiful Greek word. It's called apostasy. Apostasis. To stand back, to step back from your position. How many times have I heard people say, young and old, "Oh, Father, I was born a Greek, I'm going to die a Greek." I'd like to bury. My question is, between being born a Greek and dying a Greek, did you live a Greek? Did you live up to the principles, the responsibilities, the ethos, the traditions, the customs that this nation absorbed and digested? And those words are the Republic, Plato's Republic, human rights, democracy, civil rights, one man, one vote. All these things were conjured up by your yayadas and papudas. Many of them xepoliti. Many of them, as one woman once said to me, "Ta ladara tsarouchia tis Elados." Great minds with great determination. So those who would take the apostasis, those who would take the apostasy and step back, know well, Jimmy, we're in a very critical era. Not a year, not a decade, an era, which can also be an era. An era of errors. And if our people don't step forward and take on the challenges of Hellenism, of the faith, orthodoxy, of the culture and tradition that we have preserved for, as you mentioned, 400 years under the yoke of the Ottoman Turk. There, the people didn't take apostasis. They went forward. All the more to keep cherished that tradition, that religion, that ideal that is called Hellenism. And that's why we are here today. Άλλοτε θα ήμασταν όλοι μας σήμερον Μουσουλμάνοι Τούρκοι. Don't even think twice about it. Because there are those who were converted by the sword. And we've lost them. And history has lost them. But we are the remnant. And from that remnant, we shall go forward, hopefully even better than before, and hopefully to reclaim our place in the globe. Jimmy Kokotas, I'm going to ask all the committee members to come forward. According to my watch, the program took 1 hour and 2 minutes. Could it be better? We also have a citation for Alex Vanich, who could not be with us at this moment, but it will be presented. Who is taking it? Mr. Vasilakos, would you come forward and receive this? Happy birthday. Nata Kiliasis. God bless you. We are now concluding with this program here. We are going to ask you to please join us for food and refreshments and to watch the children as they make that beautiful presentation of music and dance in the Grand Hall. Thank you for being with us. God bless you all. Καλή Τεσσαρακοστή. Καλό Πάσχα σε όλους.